everyone, and welcome to Twillow Talk. I am Tanis from the Twillow Lifestyle Community, Twillow Lifestyle Academy, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Jennifer, which I'm doing this, and she's over here.
Hi, all. I am Jennifer, and I am a teacher and practitioner with Twillow Lifestyle Academy, and I have my own practice, My Holistic Self.
And we are here today because what we do on Twillow Talk is we pick a random card from this deck here, Diana Cooper and Greg Stewart Wisdom Cards, and have authentic conversation about that topic, usually a spiritual topic. So, are we ready, Jen?
I'm ready.
And my apologies this week, I will have to end the show a little bit earlier this week as I have another commitment. But we will get in some. And welcome to Anne, who is flying through, either live or after the fact. And how do you find the energies this week, Jen, while we're picking our card? How have you found the energies?
There's been a lot. Normally,
Yes.
I'll say heavy or this or that, but I found this one to be a little more chaotic in that some of it is like very energy boosting and very high and full of kind of like life, right? And on the other end, it's very exhausting. I find myself being really tired and having like a real struggle to pull through. And so I think that there's a bit of chaotic energy in that way. It's not that it's good or bad per se, but just that there's different things coming in from different sides, in the sense of like, that energizing lifting and that kind of rest and needing to take that time. So both are there. So balancing is, it's probably not our one this week since we recently did balance, but I think balance is a big thing.
But this one is a good one. Balance or support. Support is what we have this week. So yes, I would say that it is a good week. So as a heads up, everyone, like if you've been struggling since like Thursday, there's been some crazy stuff in the energies. So I believe Thursday feeling much like we had a spike, I think, in the Schumann resonance. It was actually off. They weren't doing any readings in the shit, like it wasn't live. I haven't had a chance to look at it today, but that you weren't getting it because I think it spiked. We had a massive solar storm last week, and when that happens, within a couple of days, hitting our atmosphere, and it creates a spike in the Schumann resonance, right? Which is how they measure the vibration of the earth. So when the vibrates, we vibrate, it creates that effect. So we had this massive shift, and on Friday we had a 9/9 portal, which also brings that kind of energy. And with that portal, it also brought in a lot of galactics. So there was some light coming in, and I know there was a lot of people having headaches. Both of us had headaches for a few days with all of that energy coming in. So if you're sensitive and you were having headaches and stuff, please know this is what it was about. And then we had a full moon on Saturday. So, that is like a perfect combo for ascension and ascension symptoms. So, yes, lightheaded as well, Shem says. Yes, for sure. Joining us, Shem. So just know that it's the energies, and it is starting to calm now. And when energy comes in, it does, when your body's processing this stuff coming in, it makes us tired. It makes us, it has lightheadedness and stuff like that that's happening. So just know that it's passing. And this week should be a little better. I haven't heard from the guides or anything that be a week like last week. So I think this week should be a little bit smoother. But you're right, it was much better energy this week overall. Chaotic in terms of up or down, up and down and up and down, but it less heavy overall than it has, I think. So, okay, so our word today is support. And it says, every plant has roots through which it receives nourishment and which anchor it into the earth. Ooh, that's what we needed this week. Humans too. Work of colleagues, friends, or family to nourish and support them. Wisdom reminds you that no human is an island. All are interconnected. So develop and strengthen your support system today. When it is firm, you can withstand all the challenges. Make sure you are rooted in integrity, honesty, and self-worth. Strengthen your interconnectedness today, and you will have a feeling of safety and belonging. And the affirmation, I am always safe and supported. So, what have we got to say about that? Yeah.
I am always safe and supported. And I think that it transcends what the card actually said, right? Because we often look for support in other. We look for support in each other. And no, we are not islands. And yet we always have the support we need, period.
Yes.
And I think that it's really important for us to recognize that if we're connected to source, if we're checking in, if we're doing our work, that support will be there. But if we limit how we think we're going to find it, we limit our own ability to receive that support. So I love the affirmation at the end, because I think that is such a key component to, what this card is really about.
So I'll read it again, because I think it is an important one. I am always safe and supported. And yeah, the root thing is great too. Grounding is super important for all of us. And you and I have talked about this before, that we are always okay. It doesn't matter what's going on in our physical. That essence of self is always going to be okay. Because this is just the suit we wear while we're here. And so that essence is okay, no matter what happens.
Exactly. And it's not to say that, we're going to like everything that happens in the physical world, or that we're going to be content with everything that happens. But when we recognize that everything here is a temporal experience, and we also recognize that there is no separation and there is no lack in the true sense of spiritual being, then we also know that we're able to have that support, right? And so we're able to open to receiving it in a way that, would be very different than if we were to only look for it in a 3D kind of way, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remembering that we're multidimensional beings is important. That as well, right? So, and Tracy Faubert has come on. Hi, Tracy. How are you? It's good to see you. And she says she loves this. You. Yeah, I once did an exercise, actually. It was about fear. And it was kind of cool, because it was, I was taken through this whole, if this got taken away, what if this got taken away? What about if you only, and the last one was the inability to move or do anything for yourself. And would you be okay? And for me, I just was like astral traveling, which was kind of funny. I thought, okay. It was all guided meditation, so it was just, I was following along, and I found myself astral traveling, and I'm like, oh, well, that really speaks to what you and I have talked about before, in terms of like that piece of you is always there. It's always fine. So the support is always there.
Yeah.
Because we're connected. We're always connected. And even if you're not aware that you are, which is the great part, right?
Well, and we experience this in ways that we don't even necessarily realize until we start to look for it. But even just that kind of, and we've talked about this before, where it's like you get a feeling you want to reach out to somebody, and you reach out,
Yeah.
and they needed the support, or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Somebody reaches out to you, they're just like, "Hey, you okay?" It's like, whew, yeah, actually, can I run something by you, right? And we have those times where we'll feel something and we just kind of connect, and it's not in a physical way even with
Yeah.
a person. And then we have those moments where it's like, hey, I was going through something, I really felt you, and the other person's like, yeah, I was thinking about you then. And when we have that kind of support as well, knowing that we are all connected, and so we can reach out and tap into the oneness that's there and still get that support even if we don't get the physical connection.
That's right. Because it's always there anyway. Yeah. Oh, and Shem says it happened today for her with a person.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it happens with Jen and I quite a bit. I mean, we're very connected anyways, but we'll get messages back and forth between us. Are you okay? What's going on over there? That we've tapped into, right? So yeah. Oh wow! Hi Gaffa, nice to have you join us. Um, they're from Ghana.
Welcome.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's quite fascinating when you first start your journey, when you realize that sort of stuff is happening. It happens even if you're not, but you don't often. It's that awareness piece, right? So we don't necessarily tap into it in the same way, or we're not aware that we're actually doing it. Sometimes, I just thought I would call you. She realized that, they may have, and I think we put out a bit of an energy signature requesting support, even subconsciously,
Well, what's coming to mind with that is trees and roots,
Yeah.
right? And we think about like the secret lives of trees and the root connections and the connectedness and how they talk to each other and support each other, right? How other trees will keep other trees alive through their root system when the tree has been damaged and things like that. And it's such an amazing interconnectedness. And that's why that root part is also so important, right? If we're like, out here and we're not connected and we're not rooted and we're not grounded and we don't have that tapped in piece, right? We're not going to feel that support as much. And so I think that, taking the time to really ground ourselves and all is also a way of tapping into our support networks.
For sure. The grounding piece is super important. We have to remember that we're connected, kind of thing, right? We're connected to the earth. So being connected in that way, we can call upon those energies. Source energy, we end up being connected to each other and support each other. Gaia, depending on how you.
Well, I mean,
Speak
if
about
you
it.
get into like quantum physics side of things, because I like to geek out sometimes. And when you get into that kind of thing too, right? Like there's the whole theory of quanta and that, quantum entanglement, right? If something connects, it entangles. And so it doesn't matter then if it's spread across the universe, there is still this connection piece. And so, this can go either way when you really think about all of the different things that we connect to. So part of our support network too is knowing that whatever we bump into, we have the support to handle it and to address it and to deal with it. And so some of the things that we bump into will be supporting, and some of the things that we bump into might not be. But if we have our connection to source and our grounding, then we have the tools that we need to deal with whatever it is that we come in contact with.
Right. Yeah. And I often see the part of our the support in terms of the connections, almost like this neural net that's all around the earth, right? It's actually like more like a crystalline, but it's a high vibration, so it's not in our like physical visual. Like this crystalline net that goes all the way around the earth, and we're all kind of like connected to it. That's kind of the visual that I have for myself, anyways. When I'm connected to the net. It's kind of like the internet, but it's like crystalline net that goes around the earth. So I kind of picture it almost like that when I'm talking about source, because that way you know that you're always connected to that for support too. So and I mean energetic support. So there's different kinds of support too, right? You've got like energetic support, there's emotional, mental support, physical support, all of those things. We have to look at all angles. So support is multifaceted for sure.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to, and this is where we talked about like that not limiting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we do this, how often and we've talked about this even in like requesting, right? If we're trying to manifesting, whatever it is you want to use it in the sense of like, I would like this to happen in my life, or, to have this experience or whatever. And, we'll pray for things and we'll hope for things. And oftentimes we have this very kind of set, determined picture of what that looks like. And then something might come in and it still is meeting that need, but it's not what we were looking for. And so we miss it,
Yeah.
or we don't understand that it is what it is. And so I think that, again, that idea of grounding and being open to whatever support is there, whether it is a physical support, an energetic and spiritual support, whatever that looks like, it really allows us to see all of the different ways that support shows up. Right?
That's right.
Like the other week we were talking about going out, walking outside, looking at the stars, going into the woods, taking that time by the water, all of those different things. And we think, oh yeah, this is really nice. Oh, this helps me feel better. But it's also a support, right? And
Yeah.
anything can be supportive to us if we're able to look at what it's bringing and what it's giving and how it's feeding us in some way.
Mm-hmm. And how do you support yourself? Because that's the other piece. We have to look at how do we support ourselves going through this journey, because there's times when there's a lot that we can do to support ourselves if there isn't anyone physically around. Like, so I'm talking more physical support or, energetic. So like, remembering that you've got essential oils to breathe, remembering your crystals. Breathing's important. Remember. Usually it's automatic. If you're having anxiety, it's those kind of things, those types of supports. So sometimes tools can be a form of support, and that we found. And I know even have those tools around, do you remember to use them? I know for me, sometimes if there's a time when I'm like really, struggling or something, you forget to use your tools. I have all sorts of tools, of course. Do you remember it when you're in like severe anxiety or deep grief or depression? I mean, those are things that people struggle with, a lot of it right now. And are we remembering to use our tools? Sometimes we need to put reminders.
Well, I think
support is another thing.
This too is where the idea of practice comes in, right? Like it's not like we haven't made it. We're in a practice. It's a spiritual practice. It's a mindful practice. It's an awakening practice, right? And the whole point of that is that we're practicing it, right? And so, when I talk to clients about anxiety, I actually had another colleague give me this example, and I love it. It's like if you're going, if you're a soccer player and you're going into a soccer game and you know that the goalie on the other team is weak on the upper left side of the goal, you're not going to go in there going, all right, I'll just aim to the upper left side. No way. You are going to practice hitting that ball into that spot on the goal over and over and over again, so that when you get into that game and your anxiety is up and you're stressed and it's all riding on you,
Yeah.
it's second nature. You're
Yeah.
just going to do it. Right? And it's the same thing when it comes to our spiritual practice, when it comes to turning back to source. This is why meditation is important. Having a, routine that you do, because it is going to support you, right? And we're
That's right.
not, when things get, really tough, we don't always remember to go to those things. And the other side of it is when things are really good, we don't always think about it either.
That's right.
And so if it becomes a practice, then it will be there as a support no matter what, because it's our second nature, right?
Yeah.
I love it. Breathe
Yeah.
and keep practicing.
Yeah. Krista says, breathe and keep practicing. Exactly. For sure. Nice to see you, Krista. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's and there's that piece, when you're in the thick of things, that part of your brain that actually like shuts off, right? Because it's sending stuff to the rest of your body for the fight or flight. And you don't think about it because your brain is not fully functioning properly when you're in that sort of thick of things, right? Meaning like if you're in some kind of panic attack or something like that, you're high anxiety, not really tuned in. And that's why we forget about the supports around us. And we think that we have to founder. And, that's why it's great to have a support system in terms of in your family and all of that.
Definitely.
So let's put a question out to the audience. Thanks, ladies. We all use, but don't always use them for ourselves. Exactly. So let's put a question in.
Said, like, sorry, Dennis, but how many times have you said, I can tell my friends this, but I just can't do it myself?
It's true.
Right?
It's true.
We have to bring it home. We have to always bring it home. So go ahead.
And
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's no, it's, I mean, that's, Jen and I support each other a lot. And so, I'll call her, I'll be like, this is going on. And she'll be like, have you done this? Have you done that? And I'm like, no. Okay, I need to do that. Thanks. Talk to you later. Because you just don't think about it. So your support may breathe, or, somebody texting you and saying, did you do that? I'm like, oh, I didn't. Okay. It can be that, or it can be that you need that real, like a lot of support. Like maybe you need a visit from a friend or a hug. I mean, I'm blessed with friends. I had a friend that I was very upset one day, and she knew I was upset, and she arrived at my door while I was trying to work out things in my head. And it was a beautiful blessing because I got a nice hug, and it really sort of helped to calm things down. So yeah, that's awesome. So
yeah, and I
friends
think
can be very important.
The piece too is we often get into this whole, I don't want to be a burden. And they're going through their own stuff.
Yeah.
It's not really that big of a deal, right? Like we have these narratives that we play in our mind, and then we don't ask for help. We don't ask for support. And I think that that's something else that it's really important to recognize. If we have a pattern of, I'm not going to ask, I'm not going to reach out, I'm not going to, we're downplaying things, or, whatever it is, to be really mindful of that, right? And see, what can I do differently in this moment to help have this need met? Do I need to go into meditation? Do I need to maybe sit and read something? Do I need to reach out to somebody and talk? If somebody isn't there, because that happens, right? We do reach out and nobody's around. What tools do I have, right? Can I go inside? Can I take that time? But, go through, don't be afraid to go through that toolbox.
Exactly. And I think if no one's there to talk to you, then, do journaling. That's another tool that we can use. So make sure that you're open to receiving. I know I have also found that even if I'm going through my own stuff, when somebody reaches out for support, I support them, I feel better. Right? So we need to keep that in mind too. So if that happens to you and you feel better when you support somebody, then, the person you're reaching out to for support, they probably after supporting you. So, don't discount that and reach out, because I think it's an important thing. That's an important message, to make sure that you're reaching out when it's needed. That's part of that openness to receive the support that's out there. So, yes, Shem says, sometimes I share with Tanis. Yes. Awesome. And it always helps me to help others. So that's a support for me as well. So I want to encourage everybody today to, support if you need it, right? Open to receiving, and be open to giving when somebody calls with love and kindness. Important. Right? Mutual respect, all of that. The more we love those that we're connected to, the more we support it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I was just thinking about, I don't know why this came in, but we talk about like the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you have to you. And I think sometimes too, when we try to support, we support in ways that are ours.
Oh,
right?
good point.
And
yes.
So sometimes, though, that's not what somebody needs in that moment for support. And so I'm sure we've been on the receiving end of this too, where, maybe we need to sit quietly and deal with something, and somebody's like, oh no, you're going through this, come on, let's go out, you need to just get out and we need to go have some fun and blah. And you're like, whoa, like
I need space.
Sit for a little bit, right? And so I think that it's really important across the board, whether we're on the receiving end or on the giving end of support, to be really aware. So if we're on the giving end of support, can we give in a way that the person needs to receive?
Yeah.
Right? And if we are on the receiving end of support, can we set our boundaries and say, hey, I love that you want to support me right now. This is what I need. If you can do that, awesome. If not, when I'm ready for that, I'll reach out to you. Right?
Yeah.
But can we support ourselves in such a way that we're able to draw that line, set that boundary, and honor what we need at any given moment?
Right.
So I just
yeah, no, that's a great point. Right? Because what support is for one person might not mean support for. So that's a great thing, is to ask what somebody needs. How can I support you right now?
Yeah.
Shem says boundaries are important. Absolutely, boundaries are important. On both sides, right? Giver, and you're always giving support. Boundaries are important for you to realize that people do have to be encouraged to self to a certain extent as well. So, and it's about, and I say this to my when I'm training practitioners all the time, we're there to support, not save.
Yeah.
Right? And that they're going. So support can be silently sitting with somebody, because you're not responsible for other people's actions and reactions, right? We're all responsible for our own actions and reactions. And sometimes when we are helper people, we want to go above and beyond into that save mode. And that's when we're stepping into that drama triangle where we're playing either victim, villain, or hero. And that takes it a bit out of that sort of supportive realm into trying to save somebody. So
Yeah. There's okay, so this is sorry, I have to get close. I don't think
so
ghost
yeah.
food.
So we
I'm
have
getting that
a
right.
couple here.
It says, and very few people
And
out there.
very few people out there
Go ahead.
know what they need when they really need support. True. So what you said after that is true as well, right? So setting boundaries comes with awareness. So awareness is something that we can try to encourage others to have it in themselves, right? And you can ask the questions to look into that. But it's true, we have to start working on our own stuff. And that's part of that spiritual healing journey is stepping into what do we need to do.
I know we're at time, Tanis, for you, because I know you've got to go, but I want to say something to this really quick. We need to be really careful that our discomfort with somebody else's suffering doesn't cause us to jump in and force support.
Yes.
And I think that we can do that sometimes, where we say, you know, if you do this, it would be okay. And we try to push that and we try to force that support. But, and I know this is going to be really hard, but sometimes people need to go through something and come out the other side so that they gain something from that. And that's really hard to watch when it's somebody you love, somebody you care about, somebody that you might think they're never coming out. Like, I have to help them. They're never going to get out of this. Right? But there will come a point in their journey, if they're meant to have that they're going to open to it. And that might not be coming out and saying, hey, yeah, I really need support, but they might just go, I don't know what to do anymore. Right? And that's a door opening for us to come in and say, hey, can I help?
Right.
You know? And so I think that we just have to be really mindful. Yeah, not everybody has that awareness and not everybody has that discernment. So I'm going to hold that space as best as I can in this moment. And there are going to be times where I can't hold it and somebody else is going to be hopefully able to hold it for me. Right. Yeah. And, but we hold that for each other. Yeah. And in doing so, we allow somebody else to gain capacity in that. And if we really want to support somebody, that's huge.
Yeah, for sure. And we have a comment here. That's why we have to bring back consideration towards fellow human beings. For sure. So, and that's about support, not save.
Exactly.
So, so my apologies to everyone. We do have to cut it short tonight. Next week, next Monday, at 5:00, and we shall have another Twillow Talk with another random topic, and we're looking forward to seeing you all back. Thank you all for joining us and participating in our live, and have an awesome week, everyone. Lots of love from us, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.